This TikToker was recently arrested in Japan, then ended up fleeing the country after having a very public crash out. And sadly, this is another story of how social media fame has destroyed a person.
Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Japan! Oh, murder you! I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
Josh, are you okay? Shh! Josh!
Oh boy, I mean, this is just a dumpster fire from start to finish, but this is Joshua Block, a 23-year-old TikToker who currently has nearly 4 million followers on his World of T-Shirts account. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised I haven't covered anything from him in the past because Josh has been known as an internet crash out for a minute now, which has led him to this most recent meltdown and arrest in Japan. I don't know really how to say it, but Josh's whole internet story really kind of has a bad taste to it, especially because his original content, while it was still weird, was nothing like the crazy stuff that he's currently posting now. His first video was in 2019 where he ate crickets while calling it exotic food.
My first viral video was when I ate crickets a few years back. Yo, exotic food check.
Hey, I mean, people can really gain a following from anything nowadays. Clearly, he's not playing with a full deck of cards, but still, that doesn't excuse the majority of the wild stuff that he does for what I can assume is internet attention. Either way, though, how do you go from that to getting arrested in Japan for throwing drinks, publicly screaming, kicking, and biting people?
He bit me. What the? He bit me. Last night we're out with Joshua Block. He bit me.
That guy.
What the?
That's pretty cool.
No, that's not cool. If I didn't know this guy, I would press charges. But clearly, Josh's original content was way more tame and included content where he discussed the pandemic, made lip-syncing videos, and even just talked about coffee. But the more views he received, the seemingly stranger his content got, which is not really a news story for the internet. Views can be addicting, and getting that level of attention can also be extremely addicting, especially for a normal person. And clearly it can make some people insane, as we've covered here on this channel.
Hi, my name is Joshua Block. I'm a senior at Patchogue Medford High School. When I created my TikTok account, I never thought I would become an influencer. I get a lot of calls for brand sponsorships, but a lot of them, I have to like make sure they're real.
He started TikTok, I think, in 2018. In October last year, they start paying their stars a few cents for views. So he's got 46 million views, okay? So he's making quite a bit of money.
The turn in his content and his attitude really seemed to hit when he started posting videos of himself in New York, loudly singing and dancing around other pedestrians.
Now, to most regular people, I'm sure the idea of constantly being harassed by fans doesn't sound that appealing, but for Josh, this was a catastrophe, one he wouldn't respond to in the healthiest manner. He would begin charging his fans $50 for the privilege of taking a photo with him, with multiple videos being released of him basically demanding money from fans. Of these, perhaps the most popular is a video of him in Central Park, where a fan pays him to sing a song, with Josh looking even more dead-eyed than usual.
Yeah, yeah, New York. Concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do. Now you're in New York.
So now you have this guy who's obviously addicted to views, making weird public content. Can it get worse? Yes, it can get so much worse. A lot of people who've followed Joshua for a while started noticing some pretty creepy figures that were suddenly showing up in his videos and surrounding him, feeding off of, I guess, his newly found internet fame and potentially taking advantage of him in the process. One of these guys is someone named Michael Quinn, who considers himself a social media influencer under the TikTok handle Michael Quinn Jack. This guy is from New York City, and in fact, he is So much from New York City that he used to own a hot dog company. But since his hot dog company days, he's turned to enabling potentially vulnerable influencers on the internet that have a larger following than him. And yes, I'm talking about Joshua. Joshua's followers started to see red flags when Michael came onto the scene because Joshua's drinking habits steadily increased, and it seemed that Michael was only encouraging it. As you can see by these screenshots, the dude starts binge drinking at 21, which honestly is normal to have a few too many on your 21st birthday, let's be real, but the problem is, it seems like he just jumped straight into being a crippling alcoholic as soon as he turned 21. And if I include every TikTok of this guy posted with him and Josh drinking together, this video would be way too long. The point is, Michael started feeding Joshua alcohol right when Joshua turned 21. And this is also basically the same time Joshua started to have these really bad public meltdowns. And again, don't get me wrong, Joshua's content was strange before, but it was pretty apparent that his videos were weird for the sake of views. Now, they're depressing.
I think I'll take my whiskey neat, my coffee black, and in my bed at 3.
Okay, so now he's doing this singing while drinking in public and visibly shaking, which is kind of shocking because the shakes are normally a sign of fairly late stages of alcoholism, and the dude has barely been drinking for 2 years. And unfortunately, if that isn't bad enough, it's all downhill from here.
Ah! Oh, no, 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 no! Ow! Come here, let me
Ow!
let me get you.
Help me!
Then you have this clip. I mean, it has been nonstop chaos with this guy for a couple of years now, and it's pretty obvious that he's drunk in these videos, and going from singing in New York to screaming on trains and passing out on the street. It's a big content shift, especially going from this like fairly odd but wholesome high school kid to just this kind of content only 5 years later. But it definitely doesn't help that Joshua seems to be pretty much in denial about it, claiming that he was only an alcoholic for 2 months.
Oh, I was an alcoholic maybe for 2 months, like earlier, like over the summer. I was an alcoholic. Like I was waking up, shaky hands. I kept taking those airplane bottles of Fireball and my shakes were coming back.
So there he addressed those shakes, and obviously the latest update to this story is his arrest in Japan. So it's safe to say I don't think he's got alcohol out of his system at all. It doesn't help that even after he stopped hanging around Michael, he found a new enabler in a guy named Mr. Based.
You cannot stop Josh from drinking. He will die. He's at a stage of alcoholic that if you take away all the alcohol, he can die. He said you're not allowed to stop. You got to wean it down.
You have to taper.
We had to taper it down, right?
Does that mean I can never drink again when I get sober?
No. If you can learn to handle it, you could be a social drinker.
Okay.
Promise you that.
That was terrible advice, but once again, new dude feeding Josh alcohol while calling himself Josh's friend and savior. And obviously, Josh's condition is just getting worse and worse, and Mr. Based is just posting content like this, which is just feeding the internet's rage.
Shooting a TikTok. Josh, we just had an incredibly interesting, fun, wonderful evening. Can you break down the live stream from tonight?
Hold on, what's... Oh, yeah.
What are you doing?
Irrigating my nose.
Oh, okay. What went on tonight? Why was our live stream so fucking...
I lost my B card.
What does that mean?
Virginity.
Yeah, this is just sad. On paper, this looks like a story of a crash out TikToker who got arrested, but really it's a story of a dude diagnosed with autism who started making internet content. Then once he got a following, these scumbags pulled up, gave him a bunch of alcohol, and got him to do some crazy stuff for views. Obviously, that doesn't negate everything that Josh has done or how he acts, but I feel like we should be kind of looking at it through that lens, because that definitely separates him from people like Johnny Somali, who is very intentional with how he acts to gain an audience. But now that we're caught up with the Joshua saga, this leads up to the most recent situation, which went down in Japan. As Joshua, he's been having pretty regular freakouts on the streets and subways of New York, but he went international with this one and imported himself to Japan to essentially rinse and repeat and act even worse than what he was acting in New York City.
I
can't breathe! I can't breathe!
This one.
I think exported would be the correct term. Exported himself from America, imported himself into Japan. But either way, this video cracks me up because in New York, people were just watching him and thinking, oh, look at that, another crazy person. But then he goes to Japan and suddenly citizens are arresting him on the street, which honestly is probably what he needs. A wake-up call couldn't hurt. But Joshua didn't seem to take it as a wake-up call. Instead, he got pretty caught up on the logistics of a citizen's arrest versus a real arrest.
Under citizen's arrest, and the police wanted to talk to me, but I wasn't under actual arrest. You know what a citizen's arrest is?
Yeah.
It's where a civilian brings you to the police to talk to the police. It's not a real arrest. You know what that is?
Yeah, I got it.
It's not an actual arrest. It's a citizen's arrest.
Okay, bottom line is he was dragged to the police for being a problem and physically harming people and threatening others. But also while he was in Japan, he also hinted at eating this weird food.
I would like to try dog meat.
I don't know if he's being legit here or if he's just trying to bait an audience for attention. So I can only hope this was really just another thing he's saying for views. But he did bite a guy pretty hard there. So who knows what he wants to put in his mouth.
Put the fries in the bag.
Hey! Hey! I make 400 grand a year, bitch! Hey! It's on now!
We're not gonna fight, man.
Then take back what you said!
I'm never taking back anything I said. I love
You!
Oh, come on, man. Ignore that, man. Ignore that. Ignore that.
You don't ever say put the fries in the bag and get away with it!
It's always funny when influencers brag about how much they make in front of randoms when they absolutely did not ask. Like, what are they expecting? A congratulations? A trophy? A participation trophy? Like a medal? For them to drop down on their knees and apologize? Like, no, if you're acting like a drunk idiot and harassing people in public, don't be surprised if people point and laugh at you. Like in this situation, if you don't want people pointing and laughing at you, just don't be a burden to society. It's really not that difficult.
Hey! Wanna fight for I make 400 grand a year! I make 400 grand a year! I make 400 grand a year!
Yeah, that might be one of the most pathetic videos I've seen in a while. And he was detained in Japan, but it does seem like he was able to hop on a flight after his police station visit and flee back to New York City. Honestly, I doubt this will be the last thing we hear from this guy, but who knows?
I'm throwing my phone away. I don't want to do TikTok anymore. The stupid TikTok. Sorry. Oh.
But that was the quick story of Joshua or World of T-shirts and how social media fame and terrible influences can absolutely ruin your life. But other than that, YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this video. And hey, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.